Okay, next we're gonna check my power steering reservoir. The power steering reservoir is securely mounted, has a good cap, it is filled to the proper level, not leaking or damaged. Hoses are not leaking, they are not damaged, they have no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, the ABC. Next, I'm gonna check my engine oil reservoir. The engine oil reservoir has a good cap, not broken or damaged. The dipstick, to check it, I will pull it out, wipe it off, put it back in, and pull it out again. It should be between the add and the fill mark. I will inspect the front of the vehicle for any puddles or fluid leaks, engine oil, transmission fluid, or grease or debris. I will inspect all hoses and air lines for condition and potential leaks. The hoses and air lines have are not damaged, have no abrasions, cuts, or bulges. These are the electrical lines and air hoses. The steering gearbox is mounted securely, has no damage, and it is not leaking. The steering hoses and connections are not cracked or worn. They have no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. The pitman arm, the drag link, the steering rod, the control arm, and the tie rod are not cracked, bent, or broken. They are mounted securely with castle nuts and cotter pins in place. All joints and sockets are not worn or loose. The front tires are evenly worn. There are no abrasions, bulges, or cuts, and they are not leaking. They have at least 4/32 of an inch tread depth. I could check this with a tire depth gauge. They cannot be recapped or patched. They are filled to the proper level. You can find that information on the side of the tire. Check it with the commercial gauge. The valve stem is mounted correctly and is not touching the rim or brake drum. The valve stem is mounted and is not touching, and it has a good cap and does not leak. The rim is not cracked, bent, or broken, and has no illegal holes or welds. The studs and bolt holes are not out of round, and there are no missing nuts or bolts. The lug nuts are all present with no rust streaks or shiny threads, indicating that they are loose. There are no broken studs. The spring leaf brakes are not cracked, bent, or broken. They are mounted securely. The springs are not scissored, misaligned, and have no missing parts. The spring mounts are not cracked, bent, or broken, and there are no missing parts. The shock absorbers are mounted securely and they are not damaged. The shocks are not leaking. The brake hoses are not cracked, worn, or frayed, and able to supply air. All hoses and line fittings and couplings are secure. Brake contaminants. Where visible, I would be inspecting brake pads, shoes, brake drums, rotors for contaminants such as oil, grease, and debris. The marker lens on the side of the tractor is not missing or broken. It is clean and in the proper color. The front clearance lights on the top of my trailer is not missing or broken. It is clean and amber color. Traffic monitoring devices. Mirrors are clean and not cracked. The mirror brackets are not bent and are mounted securely with no missing parts. This is also my other traffic monitoring device. The battery box cover is secure. With the cover off of it, I would verify the batteries are secure, all connections are tight, and there are no bare or exposed wires and no corrosion. The fuel, the DEF, and the fuel tanks are securely mounted. Caps are tight. DEF and the fuel tank are securely mounted, caps are tight, and there are no leaks from the tanks or lines. The tractor trailer frames and cross members have no cracks, broken welds, holes, or other damage. The cargo area and floor of my trailer has no cracks, breaks, or holes that could result in loss of cargo. The airbags are not deflated, broken, or damaged, or leaking air. The airbags are down under there, under the cross member. The air are these two, the blue and the red. This is the parking brake. This is the emergency brake or the trailer brake. This is the electrical connector. Are seated and sealed, free of damage, and locked into place. All electrical lines and air lines are not tangled, crimped, or pinched, or dragging against vehicle parts or the ground. The air hoses and electrical lines are not cut, cracked, chafed, spliced, taped, or worn. And I also will make sure that I listen for any air leaks. The fifth wheel skid plate is securely mounted to my vehicle. I'll go over here and find my fifth wheel. There's my fifth wheel. The fifth wheel skid plate is securely mounted to the vehicle by the fifth wheel platform. It has no cracks, breaks, or excessive wear. It is properly greased. The kingpin is placed and not bent, damaged, or worn. The apron is not bent, cracked, or broken. It is properly greased. There is no space between the apron and the fifth wheel, no gap. The locking jaws are fully secured around the kingpin, and there is no free play between them. The release arm is engaged. There's the release arm. The release arm is engaged in a lock position. The landing gear is fully raised, has no missing parts. The crank handle is secure, and the support frame and landing pads are not damaged. The fifth wheel is positioned properly so that there will be clear the landing gear during turns. The fifth wheel is positioned properly so that the tractor frame will clear the landing gear during turns. The fifth wheel, the landing gear. The DOT reflective tape on the sides and rear of the trailer are present and affixed securely to the vehicle. The clearance lights, lenses at the top of the trailer is not missing or broken. It is clean and red in color. The brake, turn lights, four-way lenses on the back of the trailer are not missing or broken, clean and red in color. And that concludes my pre-trip inspection. And I would do the same thing on the right side of my truck.